Okay, here we are with what I think is going to be the last part of talking about neuroplastic assessments. The very first thing we did in part one was just a general introduction to the concept of an assessment, how to relate to it. The second is when we started to go into the four types of neuroplastic assessments. So I think this video sequence will have 5 parts. Introduction, and then the 4 styles of assessment. We did the no assessment assessment, the subjective assessment, the question and answer assessment, and I said that this 2 and 3 kind of go together very nicely in a compound. Now we're going to deal with number 4, and number 4 is it's very interesting, and I want to talk about it in such a way that you have what I feel is an appropriate attitude towards its usefulness. You will notice in the Neurolite user interface that we have brain gym, brain skills. Okay, let's push the brain skills aside. We have the brain gym. When you open up the brain gym, because it's alphabetical in that sense, the very first thing you see is assessment in your session bar. And then if you open that up, then there's training, assessment, and then training, and then the 7 brain network reinforcement. So right now, let's stay in the top 2, assessment and training. Training is where you go to activate the exercises, where you choose foundation, intermediate, advanced, coordination, flexibility, endurance, and strength. But the one above, assessment, when you click that, and you choose that, something is there waiting for you, which is quite interesting. Let's call this the light assessment. So we've got no assessment, subjective assessment, question and answer assessment, light assessment. What's light assessment? What we have there is a way of having the person, the subject, the client, the patient, actually have direct experiences of light signals and give you feedback as to their reaction to them. So this kind of assessment is not really so much coming from you, we'll say the practitioner. The assessment information, although you're going to interpret it, is coming from the person, the subject, the client. So what you've got there is 4 choices: coordination, flexibility, endurance, and strength. And let's say that you want to get feedback from the client regarding their level of neuroplastic capacity in relation to coordination. Okay. What they would do is they'd lay on the table or in the chair or the floor, however you have it set up, under the light. Now, this is the only time in the Neurolite when you don't have sound. To make this kind of assessment, mixing light and sound is too complex. You can't do a composition principle. So it's only light. You can put on the headphones to help kind of filter out ambient sound that could be distracting, or not if you have a quiet room. Try not to have noise, don't do any talking during it. What's going to happen is the person will lay there and you tell them this. There's going to be some silence and darkness for a short time, about 30 seconds. Just relax. Then there's going to be some flashing light, and that flashing light is going to continue for a short period of time, 15-20 seconds or something. You don't have to be exact with the numbers, just give them an impression. After the first flashing light sequence, there's going to be a pause and darkness. Relax, breathe. Then there's going to be light again, and a pause, and then light again, and a final pause, which means there are going to be 3 different light sequencing happening. Your eyes are closed, you're going to experience them, and one of the 3 is going to be most comfortable. One of the 3 will be most comfortable. Then I give them an analogy. This is what I recommend. They say, I don't know, what do you mean? I say, okay, just imagine that I bring you into a room and there are 3 chairs. 3. It doesn't matter what they look like, what color, what design, they're just 3 chairs. I'm going to have you sit down in each chair for a short period of time, stand up, kind of walk around a little bit, sit down in the second, and get up, move around a little bit, sit down in the third, and then get up and move around. Then I'm going to ask you, pick one that is the most comfortable. Right now, imagine I'm going to have you sit down for an hour or 2, listen to a lecture, watch a movie, and you can choose whichever chair you want. It's most comfortable. I say, okay, could you do that? I say, yeah, well, what happens if 2 of them are similar? It doesn't matter, then just pick one that you prefer. I use that analogy because it's sensible, I think it's relatable, and it gives them an easier, relaxed expectation as to what's going to happen. So that happens, and the way it's designed is that it can be a double-blind study, meaning the person, we'll say on the table, the client, does not know the order in which they're appearing. You don't know whether it's foundation, intermediate, advanced, whether it's advanced, foundation, intermediate, whether it's intermediate, advanced. You don't know the sequence. And also you, as the operator, you don't know the sequence. Just run it. After it's finished, give them a little bit, but not too long. Okay, number 1, number 2, number 3. Then you press the show on the user interface, and you will see the sequence that just ran. So if they say number 2, they don't know if that's foundation, intermediate, or advanced. You don't know it's foundation, intermediate, or advanced. So it's a classic double blind. Whatever they choose, and you can do this for any one of the 4. I have 2 recommendations here, important recommendations. I suggest that you use this as a supplement to the subjective and Q&A. So each one kind of helps the other. If you're not quite sure, you can end up with getting more information. I would say don't waste your time and do all 4 with the light assessment. Use your ability. Trust yourself. Make a subjective assessment. If you're not quite clear on a couple of them, do the Q&A. If you're still not clear on 1, maybe 2, 1, then do the light assessment. Right? So feel comfortable to mix and match, number 1. Number 2, it's called triangulation. The choice has to make sense. These are not foolproof. None of them are foolproof. Even the light assessment is not foolproof. You don't know. It's hard. Some people, even if they understand, they will doubt, or they'll choose one because they're trying to please you, or they're trying to please themselves. They don't want to get freaked out by choosing the wrong one. There's a lot of voodoo involved in the way we think about things. So if you do the light assessment and the person makes a choice, and that choice just does not make sense, this is what I call triangulation. Triangulation is that your impression as, I'll say the operator, I don't know what word to use, the light coach. Your impression, the impression that they offer, the client's impression, and should you go further, whatever assessment that you make, in this case the light assessment, these things have to add up. And if one of them just sticks out like way too far, then kind of go with a vote system where 2 out of the 3 will end up being your choice. Now, if you think that there are too many variables in this, welcome to real life. This is what it's like. You know, if you're a psychologist, if you're an immunologist, if you're a yoga teacher, if you're a parent, if there's just you and you're climbing a mountain trail, we make these kinds of assessments so that we have the highest probability of working in a profitable way, in a beneficial way. So, when it comes to the light assessment, using the device, using the instrument, it's fascinating. Give it a try. See what it's like. Do it on yourself. Or have somebody push some buttons. You know, don't push the show until you're finished. Then push it and see. Hey, I chose number 3. Hey, that's whatever. Foundation, intermediate, advanced. See how that stacks up. Because on any given day, we have some amount of variability in our behavior, in our energy, in our well-being. It could be, you know, following a big shock. It could be that the weather is gorgeous or the weather is horrible. So, you know, stay within a reasoned and common sense range of choice. And if there's at any point where you have doubt, always modify the doubt by choosing a more conservative choice. Okay? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'd like to say. You know, don't be too much of a cowboy. Don't jump around too much. Be careful if you want to impress them with the wow sessions, because it could backfire on you where in the moment, the person that they are is such that their capacity may not be up to the demand. So, you know, you may want to show them the most, you know, crazy, amazing yoga asana that you know, twist your foot behind your whatever, and you attempt that with them, and it ends up backfiring. They really don't like it. It's uncomfortable. Maybe it hurts. You think, well, I really should have gone with something a little bit more reasonable. So, assessments. Some people rely on them a lot. Some people in the middle. Some of them not much. But partly, after a while, you'll have your own style. Whether you're working primarily in brain exercise, help right now, or brain shaping, the value of the assessment process is going to be more or less important to you. If a person is obviously of low vitality, advanced age, or challenged health, or something like that, then you know you're going to be in the brain exercise category more. You're going to be working with brain food and brain gym. You know that working at basic levels and using brain network reinforcements and some of the compositions is really the world that you're going to be in, and they're going to be better. They're going to like it. They're going to feel better, incrementally day by day, and you're going to be a winner. So, it's really not very difficult once you get a few concepts and you get over the doubt, and if you take risks, risk conservative. Watch and see what's going to happen. I'm quite confident that you'll be pleased. Okay, thanks, bye.